Does Congress work for the American people, or do they work for special interest? I think it's an important question, and we're going to get into it today. Welcome to the podcast. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Eddie. I am a Texas-born American citizen who, after 30 some odd years in law enforcement and public safety in the great state of Texas, now lives happily retired in Moscow, Russia, with my lovely wife. Welcome to the podcast. And so we're going to ask this question, and we're going to dig into it. After this fiasco we saw this past weekend with Congress hurrying up on a Saturday. Congress works on Saturday. Can you imagine? They had to rush to Capitol Hill to go into the People's House to vote on sending this huge tranche of money, not to the southern border of Texas, not to protect the United States of America from an invasion. No. Let's send billions and billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine. Let's send billions of dollars to Israel. And let's send a few more billion to Taiwan, because someone else's borders, another country's borders, are more important than America's borders. And if you don't believe me, if you do not believe me, listen to this guy who will tell you exactly whose borders are important to him, and not only to him personally, but to every American. Check this out.
Well, we have to deal with our border first. The Ukrainian-Russian border is our border. It's the border between depraved autocracy and freedom-loving people seeking our democratic way of life. Do we have a stake in that outcome? Yes. Undeniably, yes. Will we rise to the occasion? Will we stand shoulder to shoulder with our Ukrainian brothers and sisters who for 1,151 days have been holding off the depraved, thuggish dictator Vladimir Putin, who has respected no norms of warfare? He's targeted children in hospitals and schools. He's bombed apartment blocks, killing thousands.
Oh my gosh. Let's play this insanity again, just the short clip, in case you missed it. Let's show it again. Here we go. From the lips of Representative Gerald Conley, Virginia, 11th District. Here we go.
Some say, well, we have to deal with our border first. The Ukrainian-Russian border is our border.
The Ukrainian-Russian border is our border. How does that make you feel, huh? How does that make you feel? How about you folks in Virginia 11th? How does that make you feel? Do you support this? If you do, wow. You know, as I said in the very beginning, I spent all my life on the southern border in the Rio Grande Valley of Texas. Worked in various law enforcement positions on that border. And you're telling me that the Russian-Ukrainian border is the American border. Wow. While 7 million undocumented illegal aliens break the law and walk in to the United States. Okay, don't get me started on that. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. But yeah, what is this guy's motivation? What do you think his motivation is? I mean, he's sitting there about to cry about how it's so important that we defend Ukrainians' borders instead of defending the American border. You wonder what is their special interest? Could it be, I don't know, money? Possibly. The insanity gets worse because it's not only from the Democrats, it's also from the Republicans. And I can't remember who this senator's name is, but I didn't think it important to write it down. Anyway, listen to this insanity about why it's important to send this huge tranche of money to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. Here we go.
Dollars are really an investment in America, in our defense industrial base. We will be producing the weapons that the Iranians use to defeat Vladimir Putin. So it's a good moment for the country. That'll be on Tuesday.
Now,
so was that a Freudian slip, that these will be the weapons that the Iranians use to fight against Vladimir Putin? Obviously, he meant Ukraine. We know what he meant. So we've got one guy, one representative saying that we've got to do this because Ukraine-Russian border is our border. And then we got another guy in the Senate saying that it's good for business. It's good for the military-industrial complex. It's good for my donors. It's good for the lobby and the special interest. You see, we won't get into that. But anyway, so one talks about borders, not our borders, but talks about borders. Another guy talks about that it's just good for business in America. Where have you heard that before? I remember hearing this back in the 80s when I was told that war is good for America. War puts people to work, puts Americans to work. And I'm sure it does. I'm sure it helps Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Raytheon. Absolutely, it helps. And it helps their shareholders as well. Wow, incredible. What do you guys think about Mike Johnson, huh? Yeah. Remember how the GOP, they tried to get Jim Jordan in. And I was supporting Jim Jordan, but now I'm thinking, you know what? He's probably just as compromised as everybody else. Don't know if Mike, rather if Jim would have been able to do anything different. But this guy, Mike, is a total fail with a capital F. Yeah, wow. Anyway, check out Johnson's lame excuse about why it was so important to vote for this. Okay, this is Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
Here, what I believe to be the right thing. I think providing lethal aid to Ukraine right now is critically important. I really do. I really do believe the intel and the briefings that we've gotten that I believe Xi and Vladimir Putin and Iran really are an axis of evil. I think they're in coordination on this. I think that Vladimir Putin would continue to march through Europe if he were allowed. I think he might go to the Balkans next. I think he might have a showdown with Poland or one of our NATO allies. To put it bluntly, I would rather send bullets to Ukraine than American boys. My son is going to begin in the Naval Academy this fall. This is a live fire exercise for me, as it is so many American families. This is not a game. It's not a joke. We can't play politics of this. We have to do the right thing. And I'm going to allow an opportunity for every single member of the House to vote their conscience and their will on this. And I think that's the way this institution is supposed to work. And I'm willing to take personal risk for that because we have to do the right thing, and history will judge us.
Yeah, history is going to judge you. I'm going to judge you. Absolutely. Wow. There is so much in that little clip. Johnson gets one briefing in a skiff, and all of a sudden he thinks Russia, China, and Iran are the axis of evil. Where have you heard that before? I mean, that reminds me of Bush 41 and the axis of evil. Wow. Or was Russia the evil empire? The USSR was the evil empire? Reagan? Who knows? This guy is either gullible or he's compromised. Either one. Have you all seen Tucker and Joe Rogan interview where Tucker just lays it all out on the line, saying that most of these guys in Washington are compromised by the intel agencies? You need to go watch that. In fact, on my first podcast that I did, I played a little clip from that. But go watch that interview. Better yet, go watch my video. Do that. But this guy says he would rather send bullets to Ukraine than American boys to go fight. What he's saying is, I'd rather Ukrainians die. And as Lindsey Graham has said, we will fight Russia and we will fight Vladimir Putin to the last Ukrainian. Wow, they really believe that. They really, really do. Wow. Freaking-credible. So this Mike Johnson believes the intelligence agencies, huh? Wow. Interesting. This is the same intel agencies that missed the surprise attack in Israel by Hamas. Where was that? Where was the intel agency when that happened? What else has the intel agencies missed? Let me think. Oh, 9/11. I remember the intel agencies were asleep and didn't catch it. Wow. So this is the same intel agencies that briefed Mike Johnson, and suddenly he has found Jesus, and Jesus lives in Ukraine. And I believe the intel 110%. And so we need to fight them over there instead of with us and here. That is basically what he's saying. Wow. This level of insanity is crazy. What is happening in America? And you may be asking yourself, dude, you're in Moscow. You left America. You no longer have skin in the game. Well, yes, I do have skin in the game because, first of all, I have 2 adult children, young adult children. They are both in university in Texas. And so I have a vested interest in their future and the future of America. And not only that, I am a taxpayer. I'm still an American citizen. And as far as the IRS is concerned, they could care less that I'm in Russia because they still want to know that I'm here. They want to know if I make any money here. In fact, when I opened up a bank account here in Russia, I had to sign an IRS form to inform the IRS that I had a bank account in Russia. IRS follows you everywhere you go around the world. The only way to get away from that is to surrender your citizenship, to surrender your passport. But there's no way in hell that I will ever do that, and I'm going to tell you why. I spent, as I said earlier, about 30 years in various positions in law enforcement, public service, and in public safety. And every time you take on a public safety job, any job with the government, federal government, I've had several jobs with the federal government, state government, you swear an oath. And the oath is the same. And it is essentially something that goes something like this. I do solemnly swear and affirm that I will faithfully execute the duties of whatever that office is to the best of my ability, will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. So help me God. And that oath has no expiration date. If you've taken that oath, you know what I'm talking about. There is no expiration date. I'm still sworn. I'm sworn till I die that I will support, that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. So don't even bother saying I'm a traitor or whatever you want. You can demonize me, say whatever you want, but I know what's in my heart. I know what I've given up. I know what I've done. Yeah. Wow. Special interest. I have special interest. I'm an American citizen. That's my special interest for caring about what happens in America. And the thing is that these guys took that same oath. They swore the same oath. Now, who's the traitor? Is it the guys who were waving that Ukrainian flag in the people's house after the vote? How despicable. I mean, that's like kindergarten, okay? Performative. I mean, for real, guys. Wow. Kindergarten, they're children. They are children. Speaking of children and childish, this is how these neocons, neoliberals, I put them all together, Republican, Democrat, I don't care if there's an R or a D after your name, they're all the same. It's the uniparty. But anyway, let me show you how the uniparty works. If you don't support these endless wars, if you don't support this sending of billions of taxpayer dollars overseas to a country that most people can't even find on a map, if you don't support Israel wholeheartedly, I mean, you've just, Palestine should not exist. I mean, you are hardcore. If you don't support Taiwan and call out the CCP, okay, the Chinese Communist Party, we got to demonize everybody. Every Chinese, we got to demonize. If you don't support these causes, then you're just not an American. You're just not an American. You are a Putin lover. Let me show you this. One of the few people in Congress that has the cojones doesn't actually have cojones. And this is a female. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, I don't always agree with MTG, but she's got fire, man, and she's got a pair. She has got a pair of cojones. It puts some of the men in Congress to shame. But look what the New York Post does. Okay, you talk about these kindergartners. Okay, GOP rebels defeated as House passes the $61 billion in Ukraine aid. Niet, Moscow Marjorie. Wow. That's a clever name. I wonder what intern at New York Post came up with that one. But why does that happen? Why does this have to happen? You know, if you're against military aid for Ukraine, you're pro-Putin, right? You're pro-Russian government. You're pro-invasion of Ukraine. You're pro-Russian genocide of Ukrainians. You're pro-terrorism, and you are just anti-democracy. You are all of the above and worse. Wow. What happened to free speech in America? I mean, what happened to free speech in America? What happened to debate? Healthy debate. State your point. State your point. Bring the facts. Bring the receipts. Put them on the table. Let's look. Let's look like adults and have an adult conversation, because the children are running amok. The children are in charge of the United States of America. The children in the people's house, you saw it over the weekend with the Ukrainian flags. You're going to see it today, Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, April, what is today? April 23rd. They will vote in the Senate to pass this crap and send it over to Joe Biden for his signature. Yeah, niet Moscow Marjorie. Hey, have you guys noticed something else? I've noticed this too, from even not only mainstream, well, you don't see it in mainstream media, but even in the alternative media. Anytime a podcaster or a newscaster wants to say something positive, even remotely positive about Russia, they have to first excuse themselves, and they have to demonize Putin, because they'll come out and they'll say something like, now this isn't all Russia's fault. No, before you start, I'm not saying that Putin's a saint, he's a killer, he's this, he's ex-KGB, he's done this, but, you can't deny what he's done for the Russian economy. You can't deny, they have to demonize Putin before they say something positive about him. Have you noticed that? Maybe next podcast, I'm gonna find some clips and you can see this. There's a pattern. There is a pattern. Why? Why can't you just call a spade a spade? Why can't you just be a man and just say, you know what? Russia isn't exactly what you've been told it is. It's not, as one of my friends says, a scary place. It's actually quite calm. Yeah, I've said this before. And if you watch any of my previous videos where I'm really not political in much of my other content, and this channel wasn't meant to be political either, but my gosh, I have to say something. But Russia reminds me of the America of my youth. When family values, Christian family values mattered. When people went to church, people were more respectful of one another. You could leave your door open. And I see these children on the playgrounds here in Moscow city, 18 million people. Largest city in Europe, by the way. And you see these children on the playgrounds, and sometimes there's not an adult nearby. Young children out there playing. And I guarantee you, every child there is safe. And I'm going to tell you why. And that is because every adult who walks by that playground where that child or children are playing, at that moment, that adult is their parent. They're watching them. They're watching them. And you can see these adults. It doesn't matter whether it's a 80-year-old babushka or maybe a couple of teenagers walking by. They're aware. Children are protected. Protected here. It's just like I was when I was young and I was playing maybe at the park with my buddies or just out there by myself. And I would start to do something that might be a little dangerous, and neighborhood grandma would see me, and she'd come out of her front porch and start yelling at me and say, "Hey, get down from there. You're going to hurt yourself." And what did I do? I got down from there and put my head down because an adult told me what to do, reprimanded me. Everybody was your mother. Everybody was your father. Yeah. This is modern day Russia. Reminds me of the America of my youth. And we'll get into that later. But what is with this demonizing of everybody who supports Russia? It's crazy. It's crazy. If you don't believe me, get yourself a visa. Come visit. Come visit. I'll take you around. I'll show you. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. All right, guys. I'm going to get off my soapbox here right quick. But I'm going to show you, I got a clip here that makes you wonder where the money goes for these black projects. And not only just black projects, but these intel agencies, you can't even tell how much their budget is because it's black. It's classified. You have to wonder. I want you to check this out. I'm not even going to explain it. I'm just going to let it rip. And let me see if I can find, this is Congressman Mike Waltz, who reveals that the United States Air Force paid $90,000 for a package of bushings. Okay, check this out.
Secretary is a bag of bushings. This bag of bushings, stamped out by machinists, they need a high school diploma. It's not anything high tech about this. All of this bag is compliant with the FAA specifications. How much do you think the Air Force pays for this bag of bushings?
I don't know, Congressman.
$90,000. This is a $90,000 bag of bushings that you need for any jet turbine engine just to operate. So the exorbitant cost due to DoD only buying commercial parts from the OEMs, which is essentially sole source, is literally driving us out of business. I mean, the interest on our debt alone is now exceeding, for the first time in American history, the entire defense budget.
You know, this illustrates exactly what's going to happen with this tranche of money that's going to Ukraine, because maybe 10 billion, maybe of it gets used for whatever it does. The rest is going to be stolen and pocketed from one of the most corrupt countries on the face of the earth. Oh my gosh. All right, guys. I'm done. I am done. I just want you to, I want to read this little comment that I read here. This is from Telegram, Megatron Ron on Telegram. If you don't have Telegram, you ought to consider it. Wow. He says yesterday, and he's talking about Saturday. Yesterday, Americans realized once again they are not voting in elections for change, but for show. The Republicans, again, together with the Democrats, completed the task given by the globalists. But at least they can still mock the Chinese for not having elections. Oh my gosh. Yeah. We mock everyone. And I'm talking about America. America mocks everyone else because they are not American. Now, I'm not sure that's something to be proud of these days, at least not with what America has become. Anyway, if you like this, share this video with your friends, share it with your family, make it go viral. Please like, subscribe. You're going to help my channel, and you will help support what we do, because I think I'm going to sound off more often. There's a lot to sound off on. Anyway, have yourself a great day, and we'll see you next time. Пока.